Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. It's been a wild 24 hours because yesterday there was a really big one. In fact, this year it's been an interesting one in the reality TV world. For instance, productions are pretty much come to a halt due to the situation in the world. Well, because of that, there was a tell-all which was filmed, and the tell-all was actually done via, it appears, Skype or maybe even through a YouTube live stream, which was unlisted, and then members could join. So here's what happened. 90 Day Fiancés before the 90 days recently held a tell-all on Monday and I think Sunday of last week, earlier this week. They filmed over 2 days, each day comprising more than 10 hours of footage, and the second day's footage actually ended up being shared somehow in Reddit. It appears the rumor is that one of the cast members, Erica, allegedly placed this video in her playlists. Now, it hasn't been confirmed if it was Erica, but that's the rumor mill. So don't go running to Erica and accusing her of anything. But here's the thing, 10 and a half hours of this tell-all completely leaked, and it is the second day of filming, which included Yolanda, it included David, it included Lisa and Usman, and then it had wrap-ups of Avery and Ash and Erica and Steph. So yesterday, I did a joint collaboration with Katrina, who runs Frauded by TLC and does the Fraudcast, which is a weekly podcast and goes through sort of the behind the scenes of what happens with production for 90 Day Fiancé and all the fakery that goes into the show. One storyline that had a lot of people upset was the David one, because people felt as though we were getting two catfish stories with Yolanda and with David. On Instagram, David had been pretty adamant that his relationship with Lana was authentic, and he even stated that he had video conversations with Lana where he saw her face to face and he knew that she was real. He also said that he had been speaking with multiple women in Ukraine, and it wasn't like all of his eggs had been in one basket. The relationship had been crafted over the course of 7 years, and ultimately apparently this whole thing goes out. He goes to go visit her. She doesn't show up. And because they're there, they scramble to put together a scene with candy stores and going to a restaurant and all of this. Well, it turns out, according to Katrina, that was all fabricated by TLC production because they were there and they needed to get some footage. Well, he gets back to the United States, and then at some point we see coming up next week that he goes back, and in this leaked footage he actually meets Lana. Now, I put up a video yesterday, but it's now since been blocked because I shared photos, but assuredly these two did meet. So he eventually goes back, he ends up meeting Lana, and he proposes to her and she says yes. Now, the tell-all doesn't really answer a lot of questions. The cast confronts him. There's a lot that is here that just because he sees her doesn't mean that this is still not a situation where she might be using him, but she is absolutely real. They 100% met. It is the woman that was in the photos. It's the Lana that he had been speaking to. She accepts his proposal, but there's a lot of questions about how much money he sent to her. She refuses to answer questions about the amount of money that he sends her. And she isn't on the tell-all, so it's just him. And when confronted by the cast, he's sort of flippant and just angry, okay? So 100% Lana is real. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Usman and Lisa. Now, their section of the tell-all is crazy. And I don't want to give away all of it, obviously, because you're going to want to see the whole thing. And I have no idea how this is all going to get edited. But these two are absolutely together, but I don't know how together they actually are. As Katrina mentioned in my video yesterday, they were going back and forth. I mean, accusations of Usman talking to women, like lots of them. In fact, she brings up the fact that when she arrives in Nigeria, he's actually talking to somebody else. Seriously. Then there's all these accusations that Lisa is super controlling. And at one point, Lisa disconnects because she's so upset with one of his friends being disrespectful about why Lisa blocks him. They admit that when they get back to the United States after they get married, they separate, they break up a couple times, they block each other repeatedly, and the status of their marriage seems very much up in the air because he can't come here due to the travel ban, and they can't seem to come to terms or even agree on much of anything. These two are very much still dealing with a lot of the situations, and they are rude. They're rude to Sean. I felt really bad about that. They're rude to one another. They talk over one another. There's a lot of cursing. There's a lot of screaming. I'm sure it will be packaged in a way in which you will feel like, what did I just watch? But Lisa was absolutely true. Oh, and even Trisha Paytas is brought up. Yeah, that's true. So Trisha Paytas, the YouTuber that has been sort of going around and sort of like trolling all of the different people on 90 Day Fiance. So she gets brought up. She's been on lives with Ed. She's been on lives with She's been on lives with Ed. She's been on lives with Jeffree. She's been on lives with Usman. She posted her dancing in a bikini to his song. So, there's just, she's going on and on and on about why is he, his parents would be so ashamed for her to be interacting with this human. And it's almost as though she takes these like flirtatious like things that Trisha's doing to him as though it's really going to end up with Trisha ending up with Usman, which is absolutely not going to happen. Usman is absolutely not going to end up with Trisha. Trisha would do anything for publicity. I mean, that's why she's like on Jeffree's lives. It's why she's on Ed's lives. It's why she would literally be on any of the people's lives on the show in order to get 15 minutes of fame. She has flirted with every single cast member, and I don't think that Usman is anything special. Now, they conflate his celebrity, and they talk about how famous he is. I don't really know how famous Usman actually is. I don't even know how successful his music career is. It's debatable that his song that he even put out is actually authentic. So in that respect, I would say that the Usman and Lisa section should not really disappoint, but it's going to be a lot of what you've already seen this season, of them going back and forth. And ultimately, I think that these two just need to separate. That's my opinion. They have no business being together. Usman insists that he is not using her for a visa, and it was never even about that. I don't know how that's true at all, to be honest. I don't know how he isn't using her. And they talk about their relationship in a very transactional way. So, like, you're going to come here and this is what's going to happen. And Usman is still being very much like, I'm the man. And she's like, no, I'm the woman, and blah, 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 blah. Avery and Ash show up at the very end. They talk about the status of their relationship. They both admit that their relationship is done. It's over. And ultimately, the sad part here is that it was Ash, as Katrina had mentioned yesterday, that ended this relationship. And it's really Avery that is struggling to deal with the aftermath of this. And she's the one that doesn't really know whether or not she's going to move forward with things in the future, or if she's going to end up like, if there's a possibility for this relationship to work. So very little resolution for those two. And then Erica and Steph. This specific like ending is really crazy. Like, I feel really like sad for both of them, specifically Erica, because apparently these two, like Katrina said yesterday, are not on speaking terms. They're not even friends. They don't even talk. Erica still appears incredibly hurt. And Stephanie, for her part, just seems sort of like, I don't know, too much has happened between these two. And they talk about coming out. They talk about how the challenges of coming out. They talk about, some of the issues that happened of Erica introducing Steph and then everything sort of blowing up in her face, and the embarrassment of bringing a girl home and then finding out, oh, this relationship is over. So there's definitely going to be some sadness there. Darcy shows up to talk to to talk to Usman and Lisa, and she actually sticks up for Lisa. And I thought that was really sweet because Darcy is always about like women supporting women. And I know some of you don't like Darcy, and I always make fun of Darcy for her like fake tears, but love her or hate her, I think Darcy's the kind of person that will always encourage people and be there for another person going through something, especially a woman. And so it was nice to see some of the cast members sort of rally around each other dealing with this. Ultimately, this will be edited into probably a 2-part tell-all. Now, there is a report on Soap Dirt, I think, that the tell-all was airing this week. That's not true. In fact, this week is going to be a brand new episode where we're going to see a blow-up between Erica and Stephanie over her coming out to her mother. We're going to see David actually going back and trying to meet up with Lana. I don't know if this is the episode where we actually see them meet and get together. There's going to be, and there's the cliffhanger of Jeffrey and Varya. And obviously, Jeffrey and Varya were not included in the tell-all at all. TLC has completely cut ties with them. So this tell-all, it's going to be crazy to see how all of this is placed together. A lot of stuff has leaked online. Like I said, I did share some photos on my Instagram, but the TLC blocked my last video. So I figured I needed to put something together so you guys know, yes, Lana's real. Yes, a proposal happens. There is some very hurt feelings between Erica and Steph. Avery and Ash are dealing with a very recent breakup. A lot of it is what Katrina and I discussed yesterday. And then the Usman and Lisa stuff. Wow. I feel like, if anything, that specific stuff, this tell-all is not going to disappoint. There's going to be blow-ups between a lot of them because a lot of the couples are just not in a good place. And we know at this point that the only couple that is still together are Usman and Lisa, and I can't even say how well these two are doing. So, what do you think about all of this? Are you surprised? Are you shocked? Are you I still want to know how this all got leaked out. I want to know how people found out about it. I want to know who was the person that knew to go into this person's playlist to find this video, and how did this whole entire video become accessible to everybody? And what is TLC going to do now to try to minimize the amount of stuff that comes out about this? I mean, obviously they blocked my video, which fair enough. I took some photos that were from a copyrighted thing, but I didn't have them up for the whole video. So you won't see any you won't see any photos of Lana this time, but we'll have to see how this current season ends up playing out. And just so you know, the 90-Day Fiance The Other Way is coming up in a couple weeks. So that season, I'm so excited for it. Absolutely. We're going to see the first male gay couple for this new season. And then we're going to see Devin coming back and Jenny. It's going to be a blast. All right, you guys. So tell me what your thoughts are about the leaks. Who do you think did this? Where did it come from? And are you surprised by any of the outcomes? Bye.